Hey, what is going on? What is going on? This is Mike Clark, the Key to Knowledge team, powered by the Williams Advanced Realty team. Um, I am excited for our next episode, back to back. Must be a great month going so far, right? But I want to push this out because this has been overdue for the last 2 months. Typically, it's foreclosure auction time, so I like to push information out about foreclosure. If that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me. My number is 915-487-6602. But essentially, I just want to get started with this episode so you guys can see where I'm going with this today. But I want you guys to understand foreclosures is one of the most misunderstood parts of real estate. To be honest, a lot of people hear the word foreclosure. It's a great word. It's a great thing. Like I hear discount, but there's a lot that goes with that, right? I want you to know that in Texas, the foreclosure process moves fast. The rules are strict, and buying at an auction can come with major risks. Today, we're going to break down how mortgage foreclosures work in Texas, what a trustee actually means, and what homeowners should know, right? What homeowners should know and what buyers or investors need to know before they even think or believe that they found a deal. How good is this deal realistically, right? Of course, an important disclaimer: I'm a realtor, but I'm not your realtor, right? You got to understand this is for educational purposes only. Please take this information and please still do your research and due diligence. It's very important because, again, regardless, this information is out there. People are going to do it regardless, but I just want to be an added resource overall. I'm not an attorney, lender, tax advisor, or foreclosure trustee. This episode is for educational only. I got to say that again, right? If you are facing foreclosure, you need to speak with your mortgage servicer, a housing counselor, or a qualified attorney as soon as possible. If you're trying to buy a foreclosure, you need to do your title, tax, lien, and occupancy research before you bid. Very important. Hopefully, we're going to go through that and touch a little bit more on that later in the episode. So, what is a mortgage foreclosure in Texas? It's simple, right? A mortgage foreclosure usually happens when a homeowner defaults on a loan secured by the property. In Texas, many mortgage foreclosures are handled through a non-judicial foreclosure process, meaning the lender can often proceed under the deed of trust without filing a full lawsuit first, right? Texas law helps summarize the general process as 3 steps: notice of default, notice of sale, and foreclosure sale. It also notes exceptions, right? Including some home equity loans, HELOCs, tax liens, transfer loans, HOA assessments, reverse mortgages, and government foreclosure that may require a court order. That's some of the pieces when it comes to what a mortgage foreclosure is out here, right? Understand that Texas is not where you can just ignore the mail for months. Please just don't do that and assume nothing will happen. Once the proper notice starts, that timeline is moving. Everything is moving at the end of the day. We need to understand why Texas foreclosures move fast. For a residential mortgage foreclosure, the borrower generally receives a notice of default, a demand letter, right? Texas letter. Let me see. So yeah, the demand letter gives you at least 20 days to cure the default, right? Texas law helps note that some loans, including many FHA, VA, and some home equity loans, may provide a 30-day period. After that, the lender must give at least 21 days notice of foreclosure sale. So again, verify that information, make sure that is correct. But essentially what I want to let you know is it's important because you have to understand it from both sides. Yes, it's your home, you're living in it, you're renting it, but just like anything else, if you don't make your payments, you're not keeping up with it, it could be repossessed. It could be taken back. So you got to understand that time period from the time that you know that you can't afford or you're running into issues making your payment, and then communicating that with the lender, and essentially, trying to get ahead of it. If not, then just understand if you're ignoring the calls or notifications, hey, process is going, believe it or not, with or without you. So please stay as involved as possible through that process. And of course, give everybody the benefit of the doubt. One thing that always happens with me is I always think people are out to get me, but sometimes you just got to have a conversation, and I promise you there may be a program in place. There may be a lender, a mortgage lender, or someone who can offer their assistance to kind of get you back on track, right? And all of that begins with a phone call, with communication, right? So what does cure mean? Cure means bringing the default current, right? Bringing it current, not just making one normal monthly payment. We need to cure this. We need to get this back caught up. And that's essentially what cure means. The 21-day notice starts from when the notice is mailed, not when the homeowner opens it. Again, everything we understand postmark, right? Once it's in there, once it's postmark stamped, boom, that's when your days start. Is that fair? That's up for debate. But understand, ignoring certified mail, it just doesn't help at the end of the day. Now, in El Paso specifically, when and where does the foreclosures sales happen? Well, it happens at the El Paso County Coliseum, right across from the El Paso Zoo. First Tuesday every month, 10 a.m. Again, if anyone's seen my videos before, please come prepared. Make sure you have a chair, some tables. Sometimes it's enough. I mean, every time I go in every month, they rearrange, they change up the layout of the room. But understand that, for the most part, it is starting to gain traction. More and more people are getting involved when it comes to foreclosures. So please come prepared, pack a lunch, be ready, because not only is there one trustee going, there's multiple trustees at one time on different, different properties, selling them off at the same time. So you got to be very patient, as well as you got to listen and be prepared. You got to do your homework prior to going there. I promise you, like, just showing up is one thing if you're just wanting to see the process, but other thing of showing up and thinking you're going to just start buying, you have to do your homework. I can't say that enough, because it's going to be extremely difficult for you in this particular process, right? Now, for El Paso County, specifically, the county records page states that public sales of real property were located at the El Paso County Coliseum. Again, it's the first Tuesday of every month since 2021, until it was changed by the Commissioner's Court. The county also says its clerk's office is recording agency only, and that property specific foreclosure questions should be directed to the trustee list of the notice. Again, all this stuff is, what I'm going to show you, is public records. So you can go on public records, you can pull this information up. If you want to see what's being foreclosed on, if you're on that list, families on that list, friends are on that list, it is open to the public to view, right? So I just want to let you know that and be aware of that. Now, one of the things I want you guys to know is that the trustee list you see from the county is not the same thing as an MLS listing, right? These homes are not, most of these homes, majority, I don't even say most, majority of these homes are not on the active market. This is a list generated by the trustees saying that these homes are, being put up for auction by the trustee to go ahead and give the money back over to the bank or whoever owns that particular deed at the time. But it tells you the property may be scheduled for sale, but it does not guarantee condition. It does not guarantee condition, clear title, vacant possessions, or the sale will even happen, right? All they're doing is putting that information up. So again, that's why you have to do your homework. You have to figure out, if this is a home you want to move forward with. Now, how to read the trustee list, and I'm going through this, just giving you some information, but again, verify, get with a real estate attorney, of course, and just get with the right professionals when you're verifying this information. But when you review the county trustee list, I need you guys to understand that I'm going to explain what you should look for, right? The property address, legal description, sale date, and the earliest sale time. The trustee, or the trustee's name, you can look them up. There's been some stuff in the past where certain trustees did some stuff they shouldn't be doing, so definitely verify the trustee as well. The mortgage company, the lender, original borrower name, original deed of trust information, the amount that's listed. I do pay for a list that I get from one of the trustees. They do what's called, in my opinion, more of a soft pull when it comes to seeing if there's any particular liens on a home. If you don't know what a lien is, it's simply something attached additionally from money that's owed. You know, in my opinion, that's, I guess, the cleanest way to say it. If you have a mortgage, that's the first lien. That's the first lien. You check out a mortgage to pay for the house. Now, say for example, you had some work done in a home, you didn't pay it, you had a disgruntled contractor, something didn't work out. They could put what's called a mechanic lien on your home. You also have people that are getting weed liens, not the marijuana weed, but not cleaning up their weeds. And the city has ordinances out for that. If you don't clean that up, of course, they're going to go ahead and fine you and send some stuff out to you. And the city could place liens. You know, I've seen more, a couple liens. We're going to go through it. I'm not going to go in depth about the list, but if you want more information, definitely reach out to me, of course. I need you guys to understand, do not treat the trustee list like Zillow. Do not do that. Treat it like a starting point for your due diligence. Just verifying the address, verifying more or less, how much you believe the home is valued at. From there, now you got to go deeper. If this is a home that you really want to get into and you like it and everything lines up the right way, then now I think the next step is, of course, getting with a title company and having them do a title search on the home, ensuring that there's no other liens out or other individuals that are attached to the home, that it's not notified properly. Like, you just want to make sure you're going to get as close to a clean title as possible. If not, the whole sense of it is to have a clean title. All right. Now, as a foreclosure, you may not have interior access to the sale. And all that means is you're going to see the list, you're going to see the homes. You're not going to be able to see the inside of the home prior to the sale. This is not like one of the car auctions where you can go to a particular lot, you can view some cars beforehand, vet it, start it up, all those good things, and then decide if you want to move forward with this. You're literally purchasing these homes sight unseen. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be transparent. There are individuals that go out to homes, they knock on the door, they have a conversation, and they negotiate and they work their way through and they figure it out. Right? It's not something I'm promoting or advocating for, but if you can do it, absolutely try it, see what happens. But understand that, again, this is like when you're going through the foreclosure. When you're going through the foreclosure auction, it's similar to like an eviction. So understand that this is not even just an eviction, right? This is somebody's home. They're disgruntled, their family's losing their home. Like, it's a lot of emotions. So it may not be as easy as knocking on the door and saying, hey, do you mind if I view the home? Because you see it as a deal, you see it as an opportunity. Homeowner sees it as, I'm losing my home, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Now, there may be some superior liens when it comes to purchasing a home. Again, you got your mortgage that you have to pay. That's the first lien, right? But remember, there's other liens that could be attached. HOA liens, for instance. I've seen multiple homes, condominiums, put up at auction, and they went for a nice little deal, to be honest. And it was simply forced because of a debt of $5 to $6 grand, like not even a lot of money. And these were paid off condominiums. Individuals just forgot that they had the condominium. I don't know what happened, but somehow it got put on a foreclosure list, and boom, that's big. So understand that HOAs are having a huge presence out here in El Paso. Understand that there are some great HOAs, but understand too that they can force a foreclosure. All right. So, be careful when it comes to that overall. Make sure that you're staying up on all of that good stuff. I'm already hearing things when it comes to HOAs, and I'm going left right now, but when it goes to HOAs, just like you guys see on my stories, on everything, I'm staying involved in as many meetings. If you are in an HOA, participate in your HOA. To participate in the decisions, participate in trying to get a part of the board or getting to know people on the board, because, man, your dues can jump from $50 to $100 to to 1,000 to 5,000, depending on the appetite of your community and what they want and what they want to see. So if you're not involved, please, please, please understand that things could change very, very quickly. So, I try to keep that stuff in mind when I'm talking to my clients. Like, hey, listen, it is what this is now, but things can change. So stay as involved as possible when those meetings start to happen. That way you have a voice and you got a seat at the table. That's very important. Now, understand the auction price is only one number. The real number is purchase price, plus repairs, taxes, liens, holding costs, eviction costs, legal costs, and risk. All of that stuff has to be played. All of that stuff has to factor in on what you're purchasing. So you may see a deal. You may say, hey, look, I see a home that's worth 100,000. If I sold it right now as is, it could sell for 150, but you don't know if someone occupies it and someone needs to be evicted. That requires you to go ahead and go through the eviction process, understanding what that costs, your legal fees. Not understanding if there's any sort of liens that you got to pay, and that has to be paid off first. So again, we go back to this whole premise from the very beginning. Make sure that you understand the risk and you understand what you're getting yourself into. And I don't want to leave it with this like it's a scary thing. Once you understand the concept, once you understand the risk level and your tolerance with it, then okay, now you can make some sound decisions. But again, it's going to start with that professional at the end of the day. Like, you got to have that professional that knows what they're doing prior to you getting a part of this, right? So you want to know. Now, what homeowners facing foreclosure needs to know. So if you're facing foreclosure, what do you need to know? I need you to understand that you need to open every single letter that you receive from the mortgage company. I'm going to repeat this. You need to open every single letter you receive from the mortgage company. Stay on top of it. Communicate. Call the servicer before the sales date. You need to ask about reinstatement, repayment plans, loan modifications, forbearance, short sale, deed in lieu, or selling before the foreclosure. These are things you need to actively be doing. Again, what I've noticed and what the trend is at this point is like people go into hiding, they feel embarrassed. And yeah, I mean, I understand how you could feel embarrassed. You purchased home not thinking you were going to be foreclosed on or not thinking you couldn't pay your bills, but things happen, life happens. We have to get out of that embarrassment state and just understand that life happens and only you have your back. So understand these things. One of the things I do want to touch on is a short sale. Understand that a short sale may be an opportunity for you to still come out of this thing with the Band-Aid instead of losing an arm. Being able to sell the home for less than what it's valued at, as long as the bank approves this, you won't take such a hard hit, not only in your credit, but also just being able to move forward, and able to just go ahead and start this process over. Maybe you just need to get another apartment, get some time, get settled, get a new job. Like, this will give you time to move on, and you don't have to worry about bankruptcy and all that stuff, right? But I would also say don't cross out bankruptcy. If it's an option, find out from an attorney if this might be the best option for you. Again, we have to do what's best for us. I know when I see things like you see celebrities file bankruptcy or you see people running into issues, hard times, we kind of laugh at them. Understand life is hard. Bills are changing, expenses are changing, and we're not getting paid no different, right? So we have to stay on top of that. We need to have these conversations with each other. And that's, again, why I'm pushing this information out. My family, we've gone through that as well. I remember as a kid, it happened to us. And my parents, they were able to adjust, pivot, and they're back on top. It was for a short amount of time. But again, they didn't know what they didn't know at the time. So these conversations have to become normal within our community. We have to have these conversations at the end of the day. And not be scared of these conversations either, man. Not be scared of them. Like, let's have this at the dinner table. Let's talk about this in front of our kids so they understand that this is a real thing, and people face these type of issues no matter where they are in life. You just never know, right? I need you to understand you do not want to sign your deed over to anyone without legal advice. This goes back to when you see those bandit signs out. Hey, we'll buy your home cash. We'll do this. We'll do that. Prior to understanding that's just an opportunity for that wholesaler. Most likely what they're doing is literally trying to figure out, okay, are you going through foreclosure? Okay, how much is going to take to get you out of it? Okay, I'll give you a little bit of additional funds. And in the moment, they're not even doing anything. They're just literally taking this piece of paper that you've already signed and assigning it to someone else who's willing to pay the full cost for that property. They're literally like the middleman at this point. So understand that when you're dealing with foreclosures, a lot of people are going to come out and they're going to want to try to help. It's going to sound like help, but it's not doing anything. All right. You're not going to know your rights until you talk to somebody. And you have to make that a point. Have to make that a point. If there's equity, selling before foreclosure may protect more of your homeowner's money and your credit. Now, if there's equity, you got to remember that. You got to protect yourself. You got to make sure that you get that out before the sale. All right. Now, you have some options. If your home is sold, there's some options, right? Make sure you talk to your lender. Make sure you talk to, again, another real estate attorney and find out, hey, listen, my home was valued at 100. I owed 100,000. The bank sold it. They got 200,000. Who gets that difference? That's a conversation. Like, again, don't just leave and assume that, hey, there's nothing else to do with this home. Like, it's done and over. Like, hey, we agreed to 100. I still paid my bills. I still made money. I still had equity attached to this home. So who gets those funds? All right, just ask yourself that question, and I think it'll start making sense, right? Now, foreclosure, I need you guys to understand foreclosure is not just a real estate event, it's a family event, it's a credit event, and sometimes generational wealth event. The earlier a homeowner acts, the more options they usually have. Again, we went through all those different options. We talked about all those options that you can ask about: a reinstatement, repayment plans, loan modification, forbearance, short sale, etc. You are only going to have all those options if you act quickly. I got to say that again, right? You got to make an emphasis on that. Now, I need you to understand, if you are deciding to move forward, this is something you're interested in. Again, there's still a lot of great possibilities, a lot of people bidding. So there's a lot. As long as you're educated, you understand, you got the right professionals that's helping you, absolutely move forward. If you're willing to take that risk, because again, this is just another component to when it comes to real estate. And this is a necessary component because we need to make sure these homes are taken care of regardless, right? So it's an opportunity. If you have cash, this may be for you. But again, I would not start until I have the knowledge piece of understanding how this thing goes. Now, I need you guys to understand, if you're a buyer or an investor, what should you verify before you bid? Okay. Before you bid, I need you to verify the current market value with real comps. Who's going to help you with that? A realtor. All right. A realtor can help you with this. What I do see most of the times when I'm going to the auction, everybody's on realtor.com. Realtor.com, I'm gonna be honest, Zillow.com, I mean, they have sales data, but they don't have the most accurate sales data. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a realtor. Like, you got to think about it. That information is locked with the MLS, with the local MLS, with Gephardt. They keep that data. That data doesn't go out anywhere. And that's one thing that I really do love about Gephardt. At the end of the day, is that they're protecting that information for the homeowner. I could tell you that all day, every day. So when you're talking about property tax assessments, you're talking about all these different tax entities needing to know how much your home is valued at, understand that Gephardt, the local association of realtors, the ones that keep track of all this data, is not sharing this information. Matter of fact, they're protecting it. So with that being said, there's no possible way Zillow has the most accurate information. You got to get that from a realtor, a licensed realtor. who's associated with the MLS. Now, you'll get the real comps. That's what you need. You need estimated repair costs. Again, you're not going to have the opportunity to view the home. You may not even be able to see pictures. So you got to understand what is the worst case scenario. If this home needs to be gutted, if it needs paint, if it needs this, if it needs that, what are those costs going to be? And that's a risk you got to figure. That's something you have to figure out. It's going to be tough, right? You need to understand what property taxes are owed, open liens. Is it an HOA? Does it have mud issues, code violations? These are things you have to find out. Now, I'm going to show you guys my second screen, and I do get this list from a particular trustee. If you need more information on that, please reach out to me, let me know. But again, what they like to do prior to buying this list, because it is a charge for it, they do what's called a soft lien. They're gonna go through the public records and see if there's any particular liens. And I've never verified if they're correct or not. But again, I wouldn't move forward without knowing, hey, everything lines up. What's owed on the home makes sense. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I need someone to do a title search on it. I need them to verify it. All right. And remember, for the ones that doesn't understand what a title search is simply a title company supplying information, allowing you to understand if there's any other outstanding debt attached to this home. Is there any other person attached to this home? So you can understand that. So you can understand, hey, if I take on this home, no one else is going to come sue me out of the blue. No one else is going to say, hey, I own this house. All right, you gotta have all that information to move forward. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of other information you need to verify before bidding, but that's just a few things, right? That's just a few pieces. But understand, the more information, the better in this situation. Your profit is made before the auction, not after. If you show up without research, you are not investing, you're gambling, right? And you can still win. We all know, we throw black, we didn't even sit at the table, we don't know what's going on. Hey, put it on black. Hey, put it on red. We might win. All right. Just don't let me, the way my tone is, scare you off. There's still a lot of opportunities when it comes to this. But again, I think the better option, the best option, is to have done your research. Now, common myths when it comes to the foreclosure auction. Understand, every foreclosure is cheap. That's the first one. Reality, some people overbid, some have major repairs, and some have lien issues. These are homes I'm talking about, all right? Hey, when you're bidding, it can get very emotional. Again, it goes back to understanding how much you're willing to bid for this house, understanding repair costs, understanding if there's any liens, understanding where you need to be at and where you must stop, all right? Even in active markets, some people still have issues. They want to pay over asking, or they want to pay a little bit more because the seller's saying that they're broke, or, it can get emotional. So just stay with the numbers. Stay with the numbers. Myth number 2, the county guarantees the property is clean. We just talked about that. There's no way. The county records records the notice. It does not guarantee your investment. This is on you. You need to know what you're buying. You need to know what you're bidding on. You need to know. You have to do your homework. Myth number 3, the winning bidder gets the keys immediately. Occupancy and evictions is a real thing, and that's a separate issue. All right? Separate. You have to understand that. I don't want to even play with that myth. All right. Understand that if you win, you have to take right of possession of that. You have to figure that piece out. And it's just a lot that goes with it. Just again, consult with an attorney. And what I would do if I decided to do this and move forward, I would pay a consultation fee just to get how this thing is supposed to play out, worst case scenarios, and get all that written down. And now I can move forward confidently and I know how this is going to work. And for some odd reason it doesn't work, I have a real estate attorney I've already built rapport with, and now they're helping me with either the eviction process or the, redemption process, how, all of that, right? Now, you do not need a realtor to do your research. This is another myth. You don't need a realtor. There's a lot of people purchasing homes without a realtor, all right? And that's fine. You still need to do your research, just like any normal transaction. And if you can do that and you're confident in that, go ahead all day, every day. Now, I think it was the last myth I wanted to hit, right? So now my biggest thing now moving forward is how this applies to El Paso and Fort Bliss. All right. Understand El Paso has military families, PCS moves, VA buyers, investors, first-time homeowners. Understand that a PCS, job loss, illness, missed payments could put a family under pressure fast. And when I go through this list, there's 100, I believe there's 144 homes right now going to be auctioned off, at least on this particular list. Sometimes they add other ones, sometimes they don't make it through the whole list. But right now there's 144, right? I would say just from my previous research, like 30%, 40% are VA homeowners. Some of them are FHA. Like it's crazy. And they're putting the least amount of money down when it comes to purchasing. So things have to change drastically very, very fast for them to be even put in this situation, right? So these things can change immediately. Like I said, a PCS, job loss, divorce, all those things. For military homeowners, VA loan rules and service options, they truly matter at the end of the day, right? In El Paso, especially with Fort Bliss and PCS moves, foreclosure is not always about something. It's about someone being irresponsible. It's not always about someone being irresponsible. Sometimes it's timing, military transition, job change, divorce. Again, life hits hard for everyone, right? Things have to change drastically at this point, unless you just blatantly just decided you're just not going to pay your bills anymore, right? But that's all I have on this. I just want you guys to know if you have a property on a trustee list and you're trying to understand what it means, or if you're thinking about buying a foreclosure in El Paso, reach out. I can help you understand the real estate side, run comps, look at the numbers, and connect you with the right professionals for legal, lending, title, or tax purposes, right? Any questions you may have, let me connect you. All right. Of course, always use who you see, vet these professionals, make sure everybody has your best interest at heart at the end of the day. But we definitely need to understand that, right? Now, understand that foreclosures in Texas move fast, and they're often misunderstood. In this episode, I break down how the mortgage foreclosure worked in Texas, what homeowners should do when they're behind, and what buyers or investors need to verify prior to bidding. This is not legal advice, but it's a real conversation every Texan or homeowner and investor should have and understand. Okay. I can't say that enough. It's just truly important. Again, I'm a realtor, but I'm not a true realtor. This is for educational purposes only. I got to keep saying a disclaimer because, again, I get very cautious when I'm going over foreclosure information, but I know that people want to get into it. So, again, use me as a resource. You should have the auction tomorrow, 10 o'clock, but I want to show you guys really quick what I'm looking at. So this right here is the list that I received. Again, if you want this information, please reach out to me. But I'll give you this one, for example, this very, very first one, just to kind of give you guys an idea overall. Let me see. Try to make this a little smaller. So this home right here, 14625 Long Shadow Avenue, right? The grantee was Wells Fargo Bank. And then it shows taxes without exemptions. This is what the taxes are on the home that they, again, verified as information, but it's around $7,600. The subject deed of trust amount, to get the deed, remember, you got to understand what you're bidding on. Right now it's saying it's around $205,515. But CAD, the Central Appraisal District, A lot of people go off of that central appraisal district because they believe central appraisal district has the right information. But what did I say earlier? I gave my association kudos. We don't share that information. So this could be right, could be wrong, could be more. You don't know because you have to verify that information with a licensed realtor, in my opinion. All right. But nonetheless, Central Appraisal District valuing this home at $306,968, and this is what they're getting taxed on. So the lot size is 6,497 square feet. The living size of this home is 2,100. So it's a pretty nice home, decent home. And it shows first lien only. If you guys can see that, let me try to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see. So I don't know if you guys can see. Let's try to zoom in a little bit more. So yeah, it shows the first lien, which is the mortgage lien, right? The 205-515 to get the deed of trust. And there's no additional liens. Now, if I was looking at this home, there may be some opportunity in there. Just off of this, all I'm simply going to do is, okay, how much it's going to cost me to get the deed of trust? 205. That's when I pull out my, and this is all like shorthand math, man, like basic math. All right. 306, 968. So you're talking about a difference of $101,000. I guess might be something that's potential, right? No additional liens, nothing like that. And I would also tell you, man, when it comes to bidding, that initial startup bid, I've noticed you'll get more traction at anything under 100,000. 60-70% of the room is bidding. When you're getting over 100, maybe 5% is bidding, and then them extra numbers, there's people in between, right? But for the most part, if it's over 100, if it's over 150, man, the competition is low, and I'm gonna be honest with you. So this might be something to play with if you have the cash. All right. Now, if this is something I would like to look at, I'm gonna take the address, and we're gonna go over what I just talked about earlier. And we're just gonna use Zillow. I'm not gonna use the Flex MLS. Again, I'm a licensed realtor, so you don't have access to that unless you're a licensed realtor. What was the address? 14625, 14625, 14625, Long Shadow Avenue. Long Shadow Avenue. Okay, let me show you guys my screen so you guys can see. I remove here. Stop sharing screen. Share screen. So no. Right here. Okay. So we're going to share this. Boom. Right. So this is the home. I mean, it's brand new. They don't have the front picture on it no more. It says off market, so it's not even for sale right now. And it's saying it's 319. On Zillow, it's saying 319. And what we say at Central Appraisal District is saying 309. Right? It's a nice home, beautiful home, by the way. It's showing right here some information, right? It has some comps, but I mean, again, it doesn't give you those comps. Again, why it's important that you get with the realtor so you can understand the overall value of the home. It gives you a little bit more information about the property. It said it was sold in 2015, so not multiple times, only one owner. So, I take that in consideration when I'm thinking about repairs. Should be, nothing too crazy, maybe maintenance, if anything. I mean, again, I would drive by this home. I would try to view it if I could, just from the streets. Sometimes I think for me, if the yard is clean, things are put together, things look nice from the outside, I kind of just have good faith that the inside is in good condition. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong on that, but simply that's my mindset when it comes to presentation overall. And again, I mean, this just looks like it's reasonable. And if I was you, I'm looking at what sold near this and try to get some sales comps to see if that'll help me overall on what I'll pay for this home. And, also I would say, hey, again, how quickly can I get this sold? Is this a type of area that's selling pretty quick? 79938. It's a decent zip code. You know, maybe some options, especially if you can sell it just a little bit. You can sell it below market value just to sell it quickly. I think you have some opportunity here, you know. So again, when it comes to foreclosure, there's opportunity. There's opportunity. Now I'm going to show you guys another website, and you're going to see it when you go to the foreclosure auction. There's another entity there. So you got the county, you have auction.com, and there's other trustees that come in throughout the day. Again, so you got to stay prepared, ready to go, and you can't be scared to ask questions. You got to, I mean, everybody in there is doing what they want to do, but you have to have you have to talk. You have to be aggressive, or you'll lose an opportunity based off of people being quiet, not saying anything. They're behind the corner. Everybody in there is trying to secure maybe the same opportunity you're trying to secure. So you may have to get aggressive to figure out what's going on in the room. All right. But so let's go auction.com. Right. And there's some other websites as well, but these are different than what you're going to see on the regular trustee list. But this is a little easier, especially if you're a beginner. You get to see what's going on. But as you can see, this one right here, boom. Let me see the first one. I already see it. It is even labeled hot. It's hot because the opening bid is $66,000. You know, there's not a house in El Paso going for no $66,000 on the market. All right. So, I mean, this home, let me show you guys. See if I can give you some more details on this home. You're gonna share this new screen here. This will be my last thing I'm gonna show you guys. So this is the home I just clicked, 710 Medina Street, right? 66,000. It's saying the estimated value. Again, all these websites are estimating what they believe the value is based off of comps they believe are correct. Again, who has the best comps? Again, you don't need to use a realtor, but I'm telling you, it all leans back to having a realtor on your team, right? So you can understand that quickly and get a good an estimate of what things are going to cost. But it's saying that 173 is what the value would be. So I would just take that minus that opening bid. I doubt it goes for the opening bid, but just say, for example, it did. That's $107,000. You know, if you were just to resell it at that price. But again, I don't believe it's going to go for that, because when something's hot, everyone is going to want it. I can see this home going anywhere from 100 to maybe 110, 115. Maybe it's going to go. This is going to go. Again, I'm looking at the neighborhood. I'm looking at the outside conditions. I mean, looking at the AC unit. I mean, it all looks good so far. It doesn't look, it may not be occupied. It does have some boards on here on the side, so that might be a little concerned. But again, I would drive by. I would see as much as I could see. You know, if you're brave, might knock on the door. I don't promote that, but you know, there's an opportunity with this one. For sure, there's an opportunity for this one. All right. Again, you got some other properties down here going for $100,000 opening bid. 164 opening bid. This Emerald Isle. There's some really nice options here, right? There's one going for 94,000. But again, do your homework, figure out what makes the most sense for you, and then yeah, we can move from there. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out. Again, you know, we spent 45 minutes just going over foreclosures. If you didn't sit here for the whole video, please rewind it, go through it. I try to hit the main talking points, but if you need more information, please reach out to me. If you want more information on location, where it's at, or you just want to sit down and understand the bidding process, absolutely could help you. I would always refer you out to just go ahead and speak to a licensed real estate agent, talk to an attorney. get all those people together and come up with a great idea of what you can and can't afford when it comes to this as well. Be careful and understand what you're bidding on. And lastly, I'm a realtor, but I'm not your realtor, right? Until we do our buyer rep agreement. And of course, we can have a conversation at that point. I hope this was educational. I hope you gained a lot of information from this. And I guess I will leave you with this note is understand that there's a lot of opportunity when it does come to these foreclosures. And, we want to keep this local, but understand there's a lot of people out of state, out of the country, looking at El Paso. And, we have to understand that things are changing. I've been here for 10 years. I know some people been here 20, 30, 40 years. Family's been here their whole life. If you don't believe El Paso's changing, got another thing coming. If you have not left El Paso and never been to Austin or Dallas or any of these other cities, you can say all day, we're not that market. Just know people can turn us into that market if we're not staying active and vocal about what's happening in the community, what's happening. And you can also read that between the line when you're going to these city meetings and what they're planning. When it comes to zoning and the requirements of certain things, you can read between the lines of what is happening overall when it comes to developers and what they need to be successful out here. So you have to stay involved and figure out what's going on. And again, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know everything. I'm not a professional at everything. I just try to stay as involved as possible. All right. And if you're somebody who's looking for a realtor that's advocating for property rights and advocating for property tax rates to come down, and someone that's advocating on a regular, that's me. If you're looking for someone who has a pricing strategy designation, people with a certification with MRP, staying constantly educated when it comes to real estate, and you're looking for someone like that, that is myself. I try to put myself out there to show you guys, no matter if it's $1,000 home or a rental to $100,000 home to $1 million home, what you see is what you're going to get. And I pride myself in everything I do. And that could be for my service. That is most likely the core beliefs that I have. Those are my core beliefs, that everyone should be treated fairly. They should get the top level service. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I make mistakes, but I own up to them and I learn quickly. But I would tell you, compared to what's available right now, you're going to see the difference between what I put into this and what others put into this. And again, if it's a $100,000 property, $1 million property, $2 million property, you need to make sure you're aligning yourself with a professional that understands the market, that understands what's going on with city government, what's going on with development, and someone who's going to put you first at all points of the negotiation and the contract at the end of the day. All right. Until next time, my name is Mike Clark, realtor out here in El Paso, Texas, for Bliss area, Horizon area, San Antonio area, all those great areas around El Paso. Please reach out to me. My number is 915-487-6602. You can also scan the QR code. It'll take you to my website, all my social medias. Additionally, on my website, I have a lot of resources, things to do in El Paso, all those great things. If you're just looking for a conversation and you're just not ready to buy, but you want to know what's going on, absolutely. If you're out of town and you're looking to make a purchase sight unseen, I've done that. I understand how difficult that could be, but I try to make that as easy as possible, as if you were here. If you're someone looking for an opportunity to put your money into an investment out here, again, I believe I can give you the best opportunity. If you're doing a 1031 exchange, you need to put it into a particular property, $1 million property, $2 million property. I can help you with that as well. So again, reach out to me. My name is Mike Clark, El Paso Realtor. I love what I do, have passion about what I do, and we're going to continue to pump out content just like this. But until next time, talk to you later. Peace.